And hello there, my name is Strike Alpha, and today I'm going to be casting my friend LifeOrbSlowbro as he plays Sion. Gonna take us. Sorry about that. As LifeOrbSlowbro plays Sion, he's going to be playing with an Echo, Heimerdinger, Misfortune, and Braum on the blue team, versus a Kennen, Nocturne, Lux, Vayne, and Morgana on the red team. So, just kind of looking at this initial setup here, I'm kind of liking a little bit more of the red team, just in terms of the fact that they're more of a pursuit group. Their entire team is essentially set up for either picking off people or going after larger groups of people. So that is going to be really good for their mid-game team fighting, I believe. However, blue team has an incredible amount of defense on their team through Sion, Echo, and Heimerdinger. Misfortune and Braum, or Misfortune essentially is going to be able to do whatever she wants to once Heimerdinger throws down that turret in his ult, and Braum is pretty much going to stop anyone from getting to her. I like the red team just because it's a pursuit group, but in terms of team comp and who I think is going to do better in the end, I'm definitely feeling that the blue team has quite a significant advantage over the red team in this start of this game, I believe. Or at least if it goes even, I believe the blue team. Oh, and it looks like something failed with the spectator. Let's go ahead and restart that. Spectate game. I'm going to say the lead client is being a little fuzzy sometimes. Spectating is a little weird, so hopefully they go ahead and update that in the next patch. But yeah, like, I'm definitely thinking that if both teams go even, blue team is definitely going to have a significant advantage in the mid game, and potentially late if things come down to it. I know Vayne, Nocturne, and Kennen are also, actually all of the red team is pretty strong in late game, but like I said, the defensive setup of the blue team kind of makes me think that a lot of that pursuit setup for the red team might not necessarily make as much sense or do as well as we would normally think a team like that would do. So, now that we talked a little bit about these team comps, hopefully I didn't sound too crazy when I brought all that stuff up, but let's go ahead and talk about this invade that seems to be going on, which is actually makes a lot of sense. Morgana throws down that Dark Bind, and she unfortunately misses. However, she gets hit with that Braum Q, and she's a little bit far out, and she has those diamonds on her. She gets double stunned, and this should be the end of this Morgana. Oh, but the heal comes down, and now Nocturne flashes the wall. He's going after this Echo. Echo's not going to make it. Lux gets that first blood. Meanwhile, looks like we got a little bit of a fight in this mid lane. Kennen taking a lot of the pain to this Heimerdinger. And now that is going to be the end of that whole trade. It's going to be one kill for the red team, and kind of boosting this Lux up, getting her to a position where Heimerdinger might not have a good time in lane. But she's not going to go ahead and recall, so we'll see the impact of that in a second. So, with that, now we're going to go ahead and have the start of this game. Echo is going to start, or both junglers are going to go ahead and start in this south side of the map. So while they're going through their laning setup, let's go ahead and talk about these matchups. So in top, we have Sion and Kennen. That's a pretty interesting matchup, mainly because of, I don't know, Kennen is a really interesting champion just in terms of the fact that he has CC built into an energy kit, or hard CC built into an energy kit. Sion, being a tank that he is, might not necessarily have all that much of an issue with Kennen, at least early on, but if Kennen is able to kind of get things going, it might make things a little more difficult for him. In terms of who's going to have that advantage early and late, I got to give that advantage early on probably to Kennen, just because he is ranged, and ranged does kind of have a bit of an impact in these early lane fights, especially in top. However, once Sion starts to get a bit of a tank setup going for him, he has a little bit of an advantage actually building MR in this situation, just because of the fact that there's so many. Oh, and we got a gank coming in from this Echo. This might be the end of Lux, but she's going to make it out. Meanwhile, Nocturne is going to be right here ready to start a fight as well. Meanwhile, Lux goes in, she flashes in, throws down that light binding, and there is the kill for this Heimerdinger, although Nocturne is right there trying to get the follow-up, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, once Sion, I think, starts to build a little more MR, he definitely is not going to be bothered too much by this Kennen, especially considering a lot of the MR item, or at least some MR items, will give him the tenacity he needs to pretty much ignore, or not necessarily ignore, but not necessarily care as much about those Kennen stuns as anyone else might, for that matter. So, next matchup, we have Echo and Nocturne. Nocturne is going to be a really good jungler if he's able to quickly get through his camps. If he's able to quickly get through his camps and get a pretty quick gank off, he should kind of get lane to the point where they might start snowballing. However, just looking at how things are set up right now, his best bet might be to go through top to kind of get that advantage built up for this Kennen. It's not going to happen for this Heimerdinger, I think, just because he is a little too defensive in nature. And this bot lane is pretty decent in terms of being able to escape a lot of those situations. Between Brahms, slows and stuns, and Misfortunes, slows in general, is definitely the best place for him to probably go would be top. That said, Echo can pretty much go wherever he needs to. He was almost able to help Heimerdinger get this early kill on. Oh, and nice move by the Heimerdinger with the grenade and the follow-up rockets. You say Lux definitely wasn't expecting that burst to come through. But again, Echo probably can go pretty much anywhere he needs to or wants to. And if he's able to kind of help out any of his lanes, that will definitely be a positive. But if he's able to kind of farm and get some things together. Oh, and we got a couple rounds going off towards Morgana. Meanwhile, Vayne making a smart move going after this Misfortune. Meanwhile, Echo is coming through with the parallel convergence, and he unfortunately misses everybody. Not able to get any stuns off on his part. But hey, he's at least trying to make an effort to be impactful for his team early on. Next matchup, we got Lux and Heimerdinger. Lux is a pretty long distance mage, and that's going to be really good for fighting against this Heimerdinger, because once you get in range of those turrets, that's a constant damage stream coming through. However, even I have to admit that Heimerdinger is a little more mobile than Lux in that regard, so she's not really going to be able to just kind of do whatever she thinks she needs to do. Meanwhile, I think there's a chance Sion might get ready to ult on this Kennen, I think. So we'll keep track of that as that's going. But again, personally, I think Heimerdinger should be able to win this matchup a lot easier. But once Lux gets her ult, the matchup can kind of go either way, depending on how quick Heimerdinger is able to get a stopwatch, or how much damage he's able to actually output himself. That said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. Oh, Okay, Vayne goes ahead and recalls, almost leaving Morgana in a bad situation, but she's out. Let's talk about this last matchup, this bot lane matchup between, and Sion comes through. He misses his ult, and Echo's coming through. This might be the end of this cannon, but one looks like we got a miss, and Nocturne gets the easy kill in mid on this Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger was trying to do his best to secret snipe this Lux, but just didn't work out, seeing that Nocturne was pretty much ready to go in at that moment. So, yeah, even Heimerdinger had to appreciate the fact that that happened. But anyway, or anywho, this bot lane matchup, Misfortune and Braum versus Vayne and Morgana. Personally, in terms of who's going to be able to help with team fights later, the best, I think it's going to be Braum and Misfortune. It's pretty much hands down that that's going to be the situation. Once these fights start, a lot of the red team is essentially going to have to bunch up in terms of like what they're doing. And that's when Misfortune and Braum are going to be able to shine most, I think. Oh, so much for that. But yeah, in terms of the matchup though, I think I would have to give the early advantage to Vayne and Morgana. However, Misfortune's been pretty good at not necessarily letting Vayne kind of just do whatever she wants. And as a result of that, definitely helping, oh geez. Sion is getting really close to death here, or at least he's taking quite a bit of a beating from this cannon. But yeah, like Misfortune and Braum have been pretty good at not letting Vayne get too much of an advantage. So even though Vayne is essentially just CSing pretty good, or pretty hard there, she should be manageable to an extent. Oh, and the flash, and this, wow, good move by the Heimerdinger. This might not be end well for him, though. He's throwing down all these turrets, but it's not going to be enough to take down this Nocturne, who follows up after Lux essentially set up for the killing blow. Alright, so it looks like, again, Sion's going to be taking a little bit of damage here. Also looks like Kennen is building a D. I'm not 100% sure why, but chances are, if he's building the way I think he's going to build, he should be going for a Gunblade, which does make a lot of sense on Kennen. It's just a matter of trying to figure out whether or not Sion should be building armor or if he should be building MR. And here comes the ult from the Sion, the quick dash to the side by the Kennen leaves Sion in a bad situation. Kennen's trying his best to get that kill, and now Nocturne's here. He's going in. We got the chilling smite going down, and this should be the end of Nocturne as well. It is. Echo's gonna get that kill, or those kills in that situation. Meanwhile, we got Braum fighting off both Misfortune and Vayne, or Misfortune and Vayne both fighting out, but Misfortune's gonna go down first. Vayne essentially almost untouched in that whole team fight. I'm gonna say there might need to be a little more worry in terms of that Vayne, though. She definitely knew how to be in the right positions at the right time in terms of making sure that she wasn't the focus of that attack. It's only a matter of time before Vayne is going to become a hyper carry in that type of situation. Meanwhile, in mid, looks like Echo and Nocturne are essentially in the general area. So we might be getting another fight here, although it looks like Echo is specifically searching for this Nocturne. And here we go. Both of these guys are met in the jungle. And after taking the blast plant, a lot of question marks show up on the mini-map. Oh, nice light binding by Lux. Meanwhile, Morgana's going to be traveling around, clearing up some of these wards, making it easier for her Nocturne to go ahead and pull out some of these ganks. But anyway, or anywho, So far, 12 minutes into this game, things are fairly even. Oh, and we got another fight here. Kennen goes ahead, stuns the Sion, stopping that axe swing from coming down, and that worked for a second, but the axes came back out, got him knocked up that second time. Meanwhile, more minions are coming through, getting thrown at Kennen. He's taking quite a bit of damage, but he is currently healing. He has that refillable potion, so that's definitely a good move on his part considering the situation. Meanwhile, Morgana throws these chains down. Misfortune gets condemned, and it's a quick and easy kill by this Vayne. Meanwhile, Braum is coming down to help Echo, but Echo's fight with Vayne is definitely not a good one. He goes ahead and hits, oh man, I forget the name of it, but Echo runs his ult, and now Morgana is going to be going down next. Meanwhile, Nocturne's going to go here. Heimerdinger goes ahead and hits the stopwatch. Meanwhile, Lux gets that laser off this time, and that's going to be the end of Heimerdinger this next time through. Vayne, again, in a pretty decent situation. Now, this is so... Not sure if Braum meant to aim ahead, but it definitely did kind of stop that whole situation with this Vayne. Good job on those two working together to take down someone who was essentially setting up to become a hyper carry, I think. Well, he still is setting up to become a hyper carry, but hey, it definitely delays that countdown clock a little bit there. So now we got this fight going back up here. Like the Bramble Vest is really useful against fighting this Kennen. However, not enough of it. Oh, it looks like Kennen's actually going for a Blade of the Ruined King. That can work, I guess. Personally, I believe most of Kennen's skills do scale off AP. There might be an AD aspect of it, but to my knowledge, there might not be as big of an emphasis on the CC aspect of Kennen in this situation if this is how things are going to work out. Meanwhile, I think Misfortune might have bit off a little more than she can chew. She got condemned, and the Dark Binding comes down. Blade of Ruined King, and one more auto gets that kill for... Oh, man, that was close. One more auto got that kill for that Vayne. She's now 2-1-2 with doing pretty well. She has her Blade of Ruined King completely built out. So expect her to start fighting some of these tanks a little bit harder now. But yeah, 15 minutes into this match, let's go ahead and do a quick game summary right now. A quick in-game summary, I guess. Yeah, I'll call it that from now on. Right now, blue team is up by a little bit of gold. They're up by at least 700 gold right now. They have one more kill over this red team. No towers, no dragons. At this point, I think one of these teams probably will start to make an effort towards this dragon. Chances are when if another gank happens down in this bot lane, there probably should be a decent chance that is going to happen. But for right now, it doesn't look like that's necessarily the focus of either team in this situation. Oh, meanwhile, we got Nocturne taking a lot of damage. Heimerdinger, unfortunately, missing that rocket barrage. And now we got the quick dash. This was a bad move for Heimerdinger. He gets jumped on. Meanwhile, Braum and Misfortune are going after this Morgana. They get that kill. Are they going to get this kill on this Vayne, though? That's the next question. And it looks like Misfortune is going to be able to just barely get past this Vayne. She had two Silver Bolt procs on her. But that stun from Braum showing that it's completely overwhelming for a one-on-one situation, helping out this Misfortune. But yeah, Heimerdinger was a little too far in that red team jungle, and that was pretty much apparent based off of the fact, well, there we go, we got that first dragon for the red team. But yeah, that was pretty much based off the fact that he was there by himself and three people essentially jumped in on him at once. I don't know what really to say about that on that part. Meanwhile, we got Sion going after Kennen again. The Bramble Vest not really doing as much as I would have hoped for, especially considering that Kennen pretty much has all the HP that he had when he started attacking him. And now we got a little bit of a fight going on up here. Sion dodges that last shuriken that would have led to the stun. However, Sion has to get back a little bit. He's taking quite a bit of damage from this Kennen. But yeah, so in terms of both teams right now, looks like Echo is going to be leading this blue team in money right now, while Nocturne also is pretty much going to be leading his team in money, but he's a lot closer to his team in terms of their income compared to this Echo. Echo looking like, oh, and Echo is up here for this gank. The ult from Sion finally connects, and that's going to be a kill for Sion on this Kennen. And now we got Braum trying to fight off these two at once. He gets hit with that Dark Binding, but Misfortune able to kind of force Vayne and Misfortune to back off a little bit. Or not Misfortune, Morgana to back off a little bit here. Oh, and Morgana comes through with that ult, and now Nocturne is here. I'm gonna say Vayne's gonna go ahead and get that kill. Meanwhile, it looks like there was no hope down here for this bot lane as Lux comes through and adds her 2 cents in to this fight. Meanwhile, Heimerdinger might have went a little too far, and now Lux is gonna get in on that kill, along with the red team also taking this first turret. We're say a little bit of an advantage for the red team. However, looks like Echo's gonna go ahead and burst down that mid outer tower, that mid tier 1, so that kind of even things out a little bit. Red team is still ahead by a little bit of gold, at least 500 gold, but it definitely was a lot less than what it was before. Whoa, that damage coming out from this Echo. He throws down the parallel convergence. Oh man, there was no hope for Kennen on that. Kennen goes down to a pretty big burst from that Echo. That was pretty painful. And right now it looks like Echo is definitely going for an on-hit kind of play style. He has this Lich Bane and oh man, I forgot what this is called. I haven't seen it in so long. Runic Echoes, that's it. I'm not really sure what Morgana's doing, but there's so much for that. Wow, parallel wow, that damage coming through from this Echo. Is he going to be able to get the kill? He is, but Nocturne's going to also get that follow-up kill for this Vayne. Meanwhile, we got Kennen teleporting in. I don't know if this is a good move for this Sion to stay here. Meanwhile, we got Baron in the Baron pit right now. And Lux Beam getting that kill. Final light. Meanwhile, Sion's got to juke out a few light bindings. He's got to get away from this CC, although now it looks like he has made it. Might yell out a minion or two to try and stop these guys, but it looks like this is potentially the end of this bottom tower, or this tier 1 mid for the blue team, sorry. Although it looks like he might have actually been able to hold off things in that mid lane to keep that tower alive. And it also does look like the blue team is back up ahead, 1k gold. They currently are at 2 towers though, so yeah, definitely a pretty even matchup right now so far. Now I think this is where some of these team fights are going to start to be pretty interesting, at least in my opinion. Alright, and here comes Echo again. He's going after this Kennen. He should be able to stop him. Meanwhile, the ult from Kennen comes through, and that is a down Kennen. Nocturne tries to come through and help out, but Echo just had too much burst, unable to save Kennen and kind of keep things going. Wow. Oh, and this might be the end of Echo. literally CC to death.
It's too late.
By the time you hear it, it's too late. That is probably the best way to describe what just happened here. Meanwhile, Morgana and Lux are both essentially holding down this Sion. He can't do much in this situation. Sion finally goes down. Morgana is trying to run from him, and she hits him with that Dark Binding. He's not going to be able to really do much more after that. And now we got a really messed up situation going on for the blue team. They're getting picked off one by one, essentially, and that's going to be the end of Heimerdinger. Nocturne's going to get out of that as well. So yeah, it's like I said, it's been going back and forth even through all of that. And now that the red team has a two-man takedown advantage over the blue team, they're still essentially at even goal. It looks like this red team is also going to be taking this dragon, so that's also going to be a really nice power booster for this red team. Oh, that was weird looking. And the next dragon looks like it's going to be also an Infernal Drake as well. So I expect the blue team to kind of fight over that dragon, as you don't want the red team to get too strong, in all honesty. Their composition essentially wants to run after people and pick people off. We saw the CC layering coming through. Oh, and here we go. We got a fight going on with this Sion. He's trying his best to do damage to this cannon. And now Cannon goes ahead, hits the blade of the Ruined King, and... Alright. But yeah, you see the CC layering coming through from this Morgana and Lux. Essentially the entirety of this... oh, Echo might have bit off a little more than he can chew. He dashed in and immediately gets condemned. Meanwhile, Heimerdinger is in a bad situation. He hopes his turret is going to be enough, but the very tip of that Lux laser catches him out and he goes down. Meanwhile, we got Miss Fortune here. She has the flash out. She opens up with the bullet time, but essentially automatically cancels it. Not a good sign for this blue team. Sion's trying his best to keep these red team members off of his team, but that is gonna be the end of him, and that might have been a quick and easy bearing for the red team, but it looks like they're gonna go ahead and try and push out this mid lane. I'd say that again, the blue team can't get any situations where they get picked off one by one like this, and that is the end of Braum. But yeah, blue team can't get in one-on-ones with these red team members. They have quite a bit of ability to both be there or get to where their other teammates are fighting at the same, like fairly quick. Between Nocturne's ult and it looks like this might be the end of Echo, although he is able to kind of save himself a little bit. But that's not going to last for too much longer. Echo goes down to the Nocturne, and Heimerdinger apparently able to take down Lux. But Lux definitely is starting to become a problem. Right now she's 10, 5, and 4. Nocturne definitely was a problem for the longest time, being 8, 1, and 7. However, I think some of his impact is starting to really show itself now that the blue team is kind of spreading itself a little more thin, which isn't great for the blue team because they don't need people having the capacity to be able to pick them off whenever they choose to. Kennen is building... Not really sure why he's building all that AD, but if that's the route he's choosing to take, he's kind of setting things up for a fairly decent route. Black Cleaver and Blade of the Ruined King, he's doing more damage per auto attack as the fight continues, so that's going to be pretty helpful. It looks like he might also buy a Runan's Hurricane. I'm just guessing here. Mainly because that would probably be a little useful right now, although I do have to admit a rapid fire cannon wouldn't necessarily hurt either, just because his auto does have the potential to land one more stun stack on whoever they might be playing or fighting against. Meanwhile, we got this fight going on in mid. Vayne kind of dancing around the sign, throwing some damage down, while Braum tries to put up that shield and stop a little bit of the impact of those three being together. Lux, Morgana, and Vayne is pretty much a bad time, especially in a lane, just because of the stun and root potential. So blue team really needs to be careful if they're going to be fighting these guys at this point. Meanwhile, we got an ult coming through from the Sion. Echo coming through. Echo coming through with this. Oh, and meanwhile, we got Lux. Everyone's taking damage. I don't know if Echo's going to make it. Braum definitely isn't, but Echo's not going to be able to get his shield off, and he's going to go down as well. Man, is this a fast-paced game right now. And it also does look like red team is starting to pull away with a little bit of that lead right now. Currently... Oh, and that might... Whoa, just barely able to dodge that out. Meanwhile, Miss Fortune tries to offer some covering fire to get Heimerdinger out, but it's not going to be enough, and that's going to be a double kill for this Lux. Meanwhile, Vayne is going after this Sion like it's nothing, and she's going to be able to help contribute and get that ace on this Sion. Meanwhile, Lux, Morgana, and Nocturne are going to be pushing out this mid lane. They are going to go ahead and break this base open for the red team. Meanwhile, Vayne is throwing autos and she's pushing these minions out. I don't know if she's necessarily going to be able to fight this Echo, but no, she's not going to be able to fight this Echo. Woo! And that is going to be it for this blue team. They're going to go ahead and put down the surrender vote. So with that, that's going to be game for the red team. That was a pretty scary mid game. I think things were a little even towards the beginning, but once red team started to get some aspects of their kit going and some damage spikes, it definitely started to show in terms of like how those two teams were put together. Lux was able to pretty much control a lot of those team fights, as well as long as Lux and Morgana were in the same spot, you could essentially count that person as being dead. Same thing a little bit with Vayne, just because she was able to condemn after people were able to get bound or rooted. Kennen didn't necessarily do so great, but he was responsible for a few decent setups. I'm gonna say he did get 6 assists, so that's definitely a good move on his part. I would have preferred to see a little more AP built on him, but yeah, I honestly would have preferred to see a little more AP built on him, just because Sion immediately started building armor, and like I said, most of Kennen's kit does scale off of AP, so that would have been a way to kind of get around that, force him to start building a little more AP, allowing that Vayne to do a little more damage once she started to fight him. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Again, if you would like to have your game shoutcasted by me, Strike Alpha, just hit me up on the League of Legends client, or League of Legends client. My name is Strike Alpha. Also, I don't believe I will be casting next week, as I will be at, I might have to check this, but I'll be at the NALCS finals at some point within the next few weeks, next few days. I really should figure out when that's supposed to be happening. But hopefully you all are going to have a pleasant time while I'm out, and I can't wait to bring back whatever I learn at that championship match to you guys in terms of my casting. Hopefully things will be fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next time. And I hope you're looking forward to hearing me cast again. Again, my name is Strike Alpha, and I'll see you next time.